charts, the numbers run. The market's dance has just begun. Lines and graphs, they tell the tale. Winners rise and losers pale. Options swing, the clock ticks loud. The screen's a storm, the trades are proud. Closing playbook, time to see what the markets gave for free. Nate and Kane, they break it down. The ups, the downs, the trades, the crown. The trades, the crown. The bell has rung, the dust has cleared. Dreams were made or disappeared. Candlesticks like fireworks fly. Risk and reward, they never lie. Charts don't sleep, they scream, they shout. Dive right in or you'll miss out. Closing playbook, time to see what the markets gave for free. Nate and Kane, they break it down. The ups, the downs, the trades, the crowd. The trades, the crowd. Closing playbook, time to see what the markets gave for free. Nate and Kane, they break it down. The ups, the downs, the trades, the crowd. The trades, the
Welcome everyone to the closing playbook for Thursday, August 27th. Happy almost Friday. I hope you're having a good day. And we are joined by Nathan and our special guest, Silas Peters. Hello, guys.
Hello, hello.
Or-
I can only. Oh, Silas frozen me. How's everyone doing? Welcome to this beautiful Thursday closing playbook. I'm curious out there how many folks are having a good day versus a bad day, and I'm literally curious because the move today is up, but it's so concentrated that I'm just legitimately curious because I actually have some defensive stocks that are down today, some things that are up. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag. Obviously, slightly net positive because we are certainly overall positive, but it's just interesting that it is very concentrated. As a matter of fact, if you go to our handy dandy market maps here, which by the way is now available in your members area, how many of you guys got in here and got into the market maps? Give me a quick yes. Let me know you found your spot. You were able to log in, jump into market maps. And if we go into our market maps and we hit up this sector view, which I love to look at, what do you notice here? This is a very, very concentrated move here with XLK, that's technology, doing all of the heavy lifting for us with almost everything else retreating. Now, it's not blowing out. It's mostly 1% to the downside. But for the most part, it is technology. And if we actually go to our heat map, which is another one of my favorite things, this is actually even crazier because it's not just NVIDIA. CRM, Salesforce, and CrowdStrike both blew out earnings even better than NVIDIA plus Palantir. So if I showed you that CRM was up 22%, Crowd up 20, Pan up 13.9, NVIDIA up 8.5, Palantir up 5, you would say, well, the S&P is up 2.5% today. But the S&P is not up 2.5%. It's up 0.5% today. And that's because the majority of the biggest stocks in the world are actually red today. That's why I was kind of curious from a portfolio perspective how folks are doing out there, because as green as the broad market looks, the market itself is not actually doing that well. Again, you can see it in the sector view. You can also see it here where you get the RSP down, SPY up 0.5%, Q's up 1.1, MAG's up 1.37. So you're kind of getting that very concentrated, staggering of moves up. So if we look at the overall market, which I'll do that in 1 second here, we're going to see that yes, the broad market got dragged a little bit higher today, but the real question is can we get some follow through to actually get ourselves back into a net bullish structure, because we're just not there yet in this overall market. So I'll look at that in a second. First, I just want to make sure for you guys who are Market Map members, just go into One Click Trading. That's our members area. Go to Market Maps and then just click the dashboard right there. That'll open it up. Notice that your home screen here is on Market. Market Maps is a separate tab. That's what gives you all of this stuff. By the way, if in case you wanted to explore a little bit in the Market Maps dashboard, for your massive $3 a month subscription, I have also sneaked in this Learn tab here. If you click the Learn tab, it opens up My Options EDU portal, which is basically like a $10,000 mentorship options program included for $3 in here as well. So if you did a little exploring, you might have found under the Learn tab. Anyone who's new to options, do yourself a favor, book yourself for the weekend, spend about 30 hours going through these tabs, and you'll feel a lot better by the end of that.
Before you dive in, a couple quick things, if I may.
You may.
Mostly positive feedback in the chat if you weren't able to keep up with it while you were talking. A few people not doing so well, but mostly break even or positive today. Just some feedback on your question. Number two, we got Silas back with us. How you doing, Silas?
I'm doing good, guys. How are y'all?
All right.
Doing well.
And lastly, we had one or two people ask for the link for the Market Maps. Is it still open or is it closed for now?
No, I haven't actually had anyone close it down. It's just confusing. So it's open, but just confusing. Because guys, if you want to join Market Maps for that massive $3 a month, there's a page that's giving you access, but it's not selling you this, because when I built that page, this didn't exist for people. I mean, it existed for me, but it didn't exist for you. So that page is selling you the Telegram alert, which just gives a snapshot. It's not nearly as cool as this. And then I just went ahead and upgraded everyone to this, and I haven't closed that page down. We'll get around to it eventually. I'm not super worried about it. If we change
Do you want me to share it?
Yeah, you can share it.
Okay.
If we change it from $3 a month to $9 a month, it's not going to change a whole lot. So again, if you click this page, what you're going to see, I'll do this real quick. Sorry, I'm using too much time on housekeeping stuff right now, but you'll see it showing that what do you get? You get access to the Telegram. That's what you're getting access to. But in reality, you're actually not going to get access to the Telegram. You're actually going to get access to the entire interactive dashboard, including this Learn page and all that. So if you want to do that, by all means. One other announcement, which is that speaking of tools, I know you guys thought that I was just like on vacation for a couple months and not doing anything, but I've actually been working on a lot of stuff, I promise. So we got Market Maps live, but I also have the overnight options dashboard tool coming to all of my overnight options members, the new and improved overnight options dashboard coming out in the next couple of days. So if you're a member of overnight options, just look for an invite or announcement rather in your email. It's actually really cool. It gives you the more defensive trade, which has a slightly higher win rate and actually has a better performance over the last 18 months, our baseline trade. And then the aggressive trade only triggers like 1 out of every 10 times, but has a higher risk reward. It'll give you that on those 1 out of 10 times when it does trigger. And this is real time, so you can actually take this trade a little bit early, a little bit late. You could do the 4:15 version of it, which I know some of my people like to do because sometimes 3:30 sells off in the last half hour, and then you're like, well, now I'm behind the 8 ball for my overnight move. You could take this trade at 4:10 if you want. The dashboard will update, and it has XSP and SPX built in here as well, so you can trade any of those that you want. So we'll get that out to you. Very free upgrade for overnight options. It's not like a upgrade, or it is an upgrade. It's just not a costing upgrade. There's a better way to say that. Anyway, I'll shut up now. What's that?
It's an upgrade, not an upsell.
It's an upgrade, not an upsell. I'll shut up. Oh, actually, I won't shut up. One more thing. Sorry, Silas. I'm really setting you up with just beautiful oratory here before you take things over. Real quick, just because I mentioned this. So this is the S&P. We talked about this level right around 76.25. It actually, if you zoom in here, it actually didn't touch it, even though it did glance it on the overnight market. It never did in the regular hours on SPX. So we have this, and then of course we have our all-time high up here, which we've been struggling back and forth between. And then we have an equally important number right at 7,700. So we're just playing this game here right now between these three levels. 7,700, the high, and the previous high. And the market's going to have to try to battle. Right now, I mean, what I predicted today is that overnight we crack through 7,700. We'd probably try to sustain and build on that move. The problem is right now it's only Nvidia and a couple other tech stocks, a couple other earnings beats that are really sustaining that move. The rest of the market is looking a little sloppy. So what I want to see tomorrow is tech not just evaporate and give all those gains away, not just come right back to earth and put us right back in no man's land. And I also want to see some of the other sectors participate tomorrow. If we get that, if we get just a nice neutral to positive day where some of the other sectors are participating, then we're going to close really nice for the week. And I think we're set up for all-time highs, early in September would be my opinion. But if we just kind of slouch back tomorrow, tech gives up, nothing else jumps in, and we end up within, 20, 30 points of that 7,700 number like we are right now, then I have much less confidence in anything directional on the S&P. I think we're still just kind of, dating the $7,700 level, but not fully committed. And we'll have to keep an eye on it and see what happens tomorrow. So that's what I'll keep an eye out for. Last thing on my list is Marvel earnings, but I'll hand it over to Silas before I mention anything. There, Silas. Reports are that you pulled some premium out of the market today.
We did. We popped some premium. So it was a good day. The timing was great. We went through all the training and got through the workshop, and then we had a nice little bonus and icing on the cake for those that stuck around. So it was a good day. And I know as Chris and I were talking this morning, people were just like flooding the Telegram rooms. It was I think it was like, I don't know the exact 29 minutes or something like that. So not a bad payday there for half an hour's of work.
Yeah. You want to walk us through kind of the base? I mean, you don't have to get into the actual trade. You're not going to give away the actual trade that you took, I'm sure. But as far as just kind of what you saw and how that process actually unfolded.
Yeah, absolutely. So, kind of on the heels of what we covered this morning. By the way, is my sound coming in?
Yeah, you sound good now.
Okay, I've been real spotty, and I'm having a new modem delivered, so it's been kind of a nightmare a couple of days. But so yeah, what we talked about this morning, and happy to cover it again, is essentially it's really like a stupid simple three-step process where we're mapping out the first 20-minute range of the S&P 500. And as I say, really only one of three things can happen after that 20 minutes are locked in, that first 20 minutes. So of course I'm talking about 9:30 Eastern to 9:50 Eastern. That's your 20-minute window, and we are waiting for something very specific to happen after that 20 minutes is locked in. Essentially, we're looking for, again, one of the three things could happen: either a break above that opening range high, a break below that opening range low, or worst case, we just stay in the middle, right? We stay stuck in that range. And then the trigger point there is once we get a break above or below, that's kind of our signal. And we enter a trade, and it's a non-directional trade. We have a directional bias, obviously, with the momentum that pushes the price out of the range, but it's theoretically a non-directional trade. And so kind of as we spent time talking about this morning and last night, what's really cool about the strategy is that markets can go up, down, or sideways, and we can still get paid. So we have three ways to essentially win, get a payday, quick payday, I might add, without really worrying about being so directional. And that's kind of the edge that's baked into the strategy.
Yeah, makes sense. And I mean, I saw a whole bunch of people earlier popping in winners. Someone just now said they paid for their whole membership on the first day. So that's not too shabby if you got your membership covered on the first day. I know a lot of you guys didn't get to see Silas and Chris, their presentation yesterday. So we will play that again here in about 10 minutes. if you just hang tight. I know a couple people are waiting on that. We will play that presentation here. Literally, just give me 10 minutes, and we can get into that. But it's a really cool. I mean, it's just amazing now with the market how many different ways there are to grab some of that extra premium. And Silas has a futures background, so this whole market expanding and understanding what's going on after hours, pre hours, all of that. That might feel like new territory to the options traders in the room, but for Silas, that's just old hat. How he's always analyzed the market. I think it's what's kind of given him an edge for the broad market analysis that he's so good at. What I want to cover right now is a quick look at Marvel, because we've been seeing a flood of optimism around Marvel in the options market, and Marvel has had quite a few big runs post earnings. Now, Marvel's kind of a weird one because they have had several times where they haven't really got an immediate reaction on earnings, and then they've run up after the fact and had a big outsized move. So the trade that I actually did for next week's expiration instead of tomorrow's expiration. Here's an example you can see from the very last earnings. I didn't even know this was on here. I just said that. 3% move one day, 5% move, 51%. And so here's another one. Negative 5% day one, but 2% a couple days later. This one obviously went the other way around, but Marvel has been one that moves a ton on earnings. The expected move today is about 8.5%. Average move day one over 7. Average 5-day move 9.4. So if we take a look at Marvel on the chart, you can see some of these reactions. Like this is that earnings reaction, didn't really do a whole lot, and then absolutely went crazy afterward. Same thing here. Earnings and the following week didn't really do much, and then absolutely torpedoed a little bit later. Here's one where it ended up going pretty much negative the whole time. This was a much bigger gap down than you realize, 76 all the way down to 60. That's a $16 move on a $70 stock. So point being, it's a mover, and a lot of times you see these reactions and then it catches up later. I only did 8 days. I actually don't mind doing like a 30-day trade on Marvel if you're bullish. And so one of the reasons that I'm bullish is because Marvel now has a pretty good playbook. Coming late in the earnings season, they have a pretty good playbook of what is moving the needle on these kind of tech transition, the irons of the world, all these, AI-ish stocks. And they also had a pretty aggressive pullback after a gap up today. And I always like when a stock is coming back down to earth before announcement instead of running away into the announcement. I feel like you get a little better value for essentially the same idea of the trade. Meaning, if Marvel stayed up here today at 253, now we're $12 higher, and the expected move of $20 would have to, we'd have to be up into 270 something. But now that we've come back down to earth, it's just a little bit over the previous high to hit that expected move. And I feel like that's a much easier bet. So I have the 255. I actually have a pretty wide one here because I did a good amount of contracts. So I have 240, 255 calls for 8 days out. Now, I actually like that trade better for 30 days out. The only problem is I didn't decide that I liked it better for 30 days out until after I already put the trade in. But I actually do like it better with a little more time, because I think if you're wrong, you're wrong. Probably binary in the 8 to 30 days won't really make the difference, in my opinion here. But if you're right, it could just need a little more time, as it had a couple other times. And there's a lot of action on Marvel on the option side of things, which there was last time as well. It responded quite well to that, albeit delayed. And we'll see if the market knows something again. NVIDIA should be a pretty good playbook. We'll see if we get any sympathy love on some of these other kind of fan favorite retail favorites like Marvel. So wanted to call that one to your attention. Like I said, I did the 240, 255. So I need, a $15 move here in the next 8 days. I will close it early if we get an outsized move. You could also do a calendar if you're a little more neutral. Again, if we had closed up here where the high of the day is, I really like the calendar more. But since we came back down so much, I find myself leaning more bullish. Now, again, we're talking about an earnings trade, so it's still a coin flip trade. I could just be totally wrong here. We could see, Marvel drop 25%, and no one should really be surprised if that happens. But I find myself a little bit biased to the upside, and with it pulling back, we've got some bang for our buck. So let me go ahead and look at it in the calendar. We'll see how much room we can get if we want to do the calendar, because there is a lot of volatility here. Let me do the 245. Just give myself a couple of dollars to the upside here.
Are you still recommending the vertical, or is that too late?
The vertical is the one I did. If you guys want to take the one I did, I did the
245.
Yeah. Okay. Why are we out 17 years on? Okay. So this is the calendar, and you can see the break even here is pretty monster because of all that implied volatility. We've got a 213 to a 286. That's like $45 of upside room, 30 some dollars of downside room if you do the 245 with a pin price somewhere in this 380% ROI, just depending on what debit you get in there. So I do like the calendar. I think the calendar has lots of room, but I tried to make it binary and just go for a nice move up. If you go with just the net neutral one there, the 240, you still have a pretty nice range. Now, of course, volatility is going to crush here tomorrow. It's going to crush down like this. That's going to narrow you down some, but I still think you've got a pretty nice amount of room. And like I said, if you're a little bullish, just tilt this up to 245, and now you move that big, that big range of profitable outcomes to the upside a bit on Marvel. So there you go. That's what you could do on Marvel if you like more of a neutral play. What I did was the directional 240, 255. The calendar would be this Friday and next Friday. So just going for the IV crush between now and the end of the day tomorrow after the report.
The calendar was 245 or 55?
I did 245 on the calendar. Just,
No, I'm sorry. The
bullish.
vertical.
The vertical is 255. So that's like,
okay. And what did you pay for it?
I paid.
Or what should they cap at?
Well, let me just tell you what I paid. I paid $629 for the 15 wide.
Okay.
Okay. And let me just, I'll see what the vertical is showing here on pricing. Or not, I'm sorry, not the vertical. I'll see what the calendar is pricing. Sorry. Just to make things more confusing, I'll just say everything backwards today. It is showing a little heavy right now. It's showing about 270. I think that's a little rich, to be honest. 278. If you can get it for 220, like Option Strat was showing, I like it a lot better.
Are you looking at the puts?
I'm flipping back and forth, checking both. Yeah, $3 for the at the money, around 270, 290. Yeah. The calendar is a little pricier than Option Strat showing. What, 273? Still has 300% of ROI potential, but if that volatility crushes, you're gonna be boxed in a little bit at that price range. I'll throw an order in for 250, see if I get filled here on the calendar, just so you guys can see. But it's looking like a negatory on that front. I don't know where Option Strat pulled that 220 price from, because I haven't seen it actually go anywhere near that. Yeah, I don't think that's going to fill. We'll send her off. Okay. I think that's all I got. I will hand it back over to Sir Silas. Again, the context here, if you guys are new and maybe weren't following along, is just been such a crazy week with so much going on that not everyone was able to follow along. But Silas and Chris went live just last night with a strategy that Silas was just talking about, this idea of using price action as a confirmation based on the beginning of the market, and then targeting premium based on that directional evidence, and a couple different ways to play it. You saw a couple people in here who paid for their membership in the morning. So it was great. Actually, Silas, we had someone in here yesterday when you weren't on who said they'd fought, I guess they had got the beta trades or somehow they were getting some trades, and they said they were 8 for 8 and rolling in some cash. So you had a couple good ones on there.
Yeah, we ran a beta group for like 2 weeks, and we had right after we started right out of the gate, we went 6 for 6. And I think overall, I don't know the exact number. I think we ended up like 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10. So we had like 70-80% win rate. And that's right on line with our own live trading, and then also our back tested 21 years, 5,270 trades. It's like 79.2%. So we're right in line, and just kind of speaks to the volume of the maths and the stats behind it. And two, one thing that I want to say earlier, I'll say now, is that what's really cool is that our average out time, or in time in out, is about an hour. So we've been out as little as 10 minutes, and in maybe an hour and a half, hour 45 max. But we're done by lunch. Like, I don't remember out of the last 1,000 something trades where I've ever carried something past noon. So it's a set and forget. Has an automatic exit, which we'll cover here shortly in the workshop. So it's pretty cool. Like Nate was saying, there's all kinds of strategies going on, different market environments, and it's nothing. There's no reason, if you're involved with trading. I'm certainly not telling you to go do it or trade. You make that decision at the end of the day. But we're here taking Marvel trades with Nate. Chris has got some programs and services that he runs, also very in SPX and same markets. But it's like, why not skim some icing there off the top of the cupcake, where it doesn't require any type of trade management, micromanaging. Put the trade on, we're done in about 30-45 minutes usually, and then work your other strategies, work your other systems, or take the day off, whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had one question before we jump to that, Silas. How often do they come out past 10 a.m.? Like how often do you have to wait much past 10 o'clock to get the signal? Because I know, usually it's right around 10 o'clock on most days, but we have somebody who is considering joining, but pretty much is done a few minutes after 10 for the day.
Yeah,
where they live.
let me think, because I'm in Central, so I equate it to Eastern.
Yeah.
So again, I mean, it all depends on the market. So we have a grading system that's part of the kind of the indicator package. It's certainly not a requirement, but it's a helpful piece of basket of stats and maths that tell us, hey, the probability say X. So when we do get that break there in the first 10 to 15 minutes after we get the lock, that has historically told us that that's a higher probability trade. How often, I don't know, like off the top of my head. I'm sure we've got those stats, like what percent, does it trigger, an hour in or so. We do have a cutoff time though. We do have a cutoff time where if it doesn't trigger, we just, we pass on the day. And again, like I was telling Chris and the gang this morning in the workshop, I don't remember, well, there was a day maybe this week that we didn't have a trigger, but we did in another market that we follow. But
yeah, I mean, that's what I said earlier to the person was, we rarely hit that 11:30 cutoff without a trigger, but how often is it by 10 or 10:05? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think we probably have that stat somewhere. I don't know if it's that granular, like, in
Okay.
that precise window, but probably I'm pretty confident, and I'll go see if I can dig that up. But we're not waiting around from cash open to cash close, waiting for a trade. We're going to generally, maybe this is a satisfactory answer. I mean, we're going to get our trade, just going back and looking at our own trading, our own stats. We're going to get that trigger within the first, that 30 after that 30-minute lock, after
Yeah.
9:50. I would say probably 80% of the time, 89% of the time.
Yeah, and we're just waiting for a 5-minute candle to close, right? So it's not like we have to wait for a 30-minute candle or something like that. So
Precisely. Yeah,
yeah.
precisely.
So to answer your question, and I forgot the name, flew by already, but very often, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, more often than not, for sure. All right, you want me to run that
Yeah, cue it
presentation?
up. Let's ride.
All right,
Well,
folks, check it out.
thanks for having me on, guys, and good to see you. And
You too, Silas.
we'll see you in the markets. Thanks, guys.
So we develop tools and strategies to the best of our ability. As always, there's no crystal ball. No one can guarantee the future. There's always risk of loss in trading. What you'll see today is an internal audit that took live signals issued in real time from the Premium Popper Pro trading dashboard and applied a set of options criteria to them, meaning that each option gain is hypothetical and uses the benefit of 2020 hindsight. Since January 1st, 2026, the average winning trade returned 51.6%, which is equal to about $516 in profit on a $1,000 position. Across both winning and losing trades, the win rate is 79.2%. with an average return of 20.4, that includes winners and losers. Average hold time is about 1 hour. So we can't guarantee specific future results. There's always risk in trading. As you know, check out our terms, conditions, disclaimers on our homepage for more information. This is in every presentation. Look, trading involves, it's a game of winners and losers, right? So we have losing trades. No system or strategy prints out winning trades automatically, and certainly not 100% of the time. The purpose of our work is to help give folks just like you an edge in the markets, as well as us. I mean, we wouldn't trade stuff if we didn't think it worked. So if you're, worried about the losses, trade smaller, paper trade, get comfortable with the process, should be traded with money that you cannot afford to lose. So before we get started, imagine this. What if you could target $500 every morning with a $1,000 starting stake? Okay, not too bad. This is one trade on one ticker and completely done before lunch. So we're not staring at charts all day. We're not bouncing from one ticker to the next. Just one morning setup, and then you're free to get on with the rest of your day. Just like Tuesday, June 30th, anyone could have placed a trader on 9:55 a.m., hit the gym, and less than an hour later, $523 in morning income would have been added to the account. Wednesday, July 1st, the very next day, folks could have set the trade up at 9:55 a.m., gone for a quick walk with the dog. 15 minutes later, have a little buzz in the pocket, and while you're out there walking the pooch, enjoying the sunshine, and just like that, another $500 hits in morning income. Very next day, Thursday, July 2nd, folks could have set the trade shortly up after the market opened, spent the rest of the morning hitting the links, and before they finished teeing off in the second hole, maybe 30 minutes into this